coming. Right now we have some tech difficulties. We're trying to get someone to Skype in, so we might be doing that as they're talking. Sorry about that. Try to act like I'm not there. Cool. Before we start, there's some ground rules that we have at our events. There's going to be a Q&A period after the main panelists talk, and we're going to try to keep questions for the Q&A period. So if you have a question, just write it down, and then you can ask it after. Also, the presenters have requested that no audio or video recording take place during this. Yeah, so if you could respect that, would be great. And we also ask for no flash photography, and we request that no photographing takes place. And if there's anyone else who has any questions, just wait for the Q&A. I already said that. And we ask for all cell phones to put on silence, or like the airplane mode, or just turn them on. Okay. And we have some up-and-coming events for Rethinking Prisons Month. Tomorrow, Robert King is going to be speaking, who is a former Black Panther and political prisoner with the Angola 3. He was in solitary confinement for 29 years, and he was charged for murder in Angola prison when he wasn't even at that prison. So it's like it's a case that really shows the injustice of the U.S. criminal justice system. And then on Wednesday, we have an event for Lion Troy Davis, the human impact of the death penalty, from 3 to 4:30. And then later that day, Booch Riley is going to be speaking on hip-hop, mass incarceration, and class struggle. And then on Thursday, we have Christian Williams is going to come talk about policing and counterinsurgency. And that event is only for students. On this Friday, we have a radical self-defense course from 11 to 1. And all this information is on the handouts that we have in front of you. And that, on the radical self-defense course, is also for students only. And so, yeah, we have plenty of events coming up. Check it out, and we'll see you there. With no further ado, we cool? All right, I'll hand over the stage.
Hey, thank you for coming and welcome. My name is Sara. I work as a volunteer at Community to Community in Bellingham, Washington. We are primarily a farm worker-led organization, and we work for farm worker rights, and gender justice and food sovereignty in general in Washington County. With you today is Angelica Villa. She is she is the lead organizer for Community to Community. She also coordinates the program called Cristina Sana. And she'll be talking to you today about how prisons and law enforcement affect the lives of farm workers in the rural areas of Whatcom County. Next to her is Edgar. Edgar is the coordinator of Formación Cívica in Community to Community, and he'll be talking about popular movement offenders. This is Ramon, and Ramon is the president of Community to Community. And each one of us will get a chance to introduce ourselves as we speak. So we're going to start a little bit today. We're going to start talking about what the situation is like for farm workers in rural areas of Washington, particularly in Washington County. And then Ramon is going to talk about how prisons make workers in the food chain, how prisons and law enforcement affect the lives and working conditions of workers along the food chain. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about our work with youth and LGBTQ, low-income immigrant communities. Maru Villalpando will be able to join us through Skype also. She really wanted to be here, but because she said she can't, she'll try to join. So we'll start off, and then if you have questions, if you wouldn't mind noting them down, because we'll have time at the end to share.
Buenas tardes,
Good afternoon.
mi nombre es Angélica Villa,
My name's Angelica Villa.
madre soltera con 4 hijos.
I'm a single mother with 4 kids.
Tengo ya en este país 26, 27 años viviendo aquí.
In this country, I have 26, 27 years living here.
Vivo en la ciudad de Linden,
I live in the city of Linden,
15 minutos con la frontera de Canadá.
15 minutes away from the border with Canada.
Ahora en estos tiempos
Today, in these times,
las cosas se han puesto muy difíciles
times are really hard
para las personas que trabajamos en el campo.
for the people that are working out in the fields.
No nada más por la persecución de la policía,
Not only because we're persecuted by police,
sino ahora también por inmigración.
but now because of immigration.
Ellos están tomando el papel como si fueran policías también.
They're taking the role not as border agents, but as local law enforcement too.
Al parar a las personas nada más por infracciones, por no tener licencia,
For pulling people over for minor offenses like driving without a license.
y nos llevan al centro de detención que está en Sumas.
And they take us to the detention center that we have there in Sumas.
Muchas personas no saben que hay un lugar ahí también.
Many people don't know that there's a detention center there.
Y el sábado fuimos a hacer una acción ahí,
And Saturday, we went to go do an action right there.
en apoyo a las personas que están en huelga de hambre en Tacoma,
In solidarity with the folks that are on hunger strike in Tacoma.
porque entendemos todo el problema.
Because we understand the problem.
Lo sentimos también
We feel it.
y sabemos que es una situación difícil.
And we know it's a really difficult situation.
Aparte que tenemos que luchar
Apart from us always having to fight
por la discriminación,
against discrimination,
tenemos que cuidarnos de la policía, de migración.
we always have to be protecting ourselves from police, from border patrol.
Ya no nos sentimos con esa confianza ni de salir a la tienda,
We don't feel even the confidence to even go shop at our stores.
porque si nos llega a parar la policía o migración,
If we get pulled over by border patrol or by police,
si tú no eres una persona con antecedentes penales,
if you're a person without no previous criminal history,
ellos te criminalizan.
they criminalize you.
Y yo pienso que el no tener una licencia de conducir
And I think driving without a license
o no tener aseguranza
or driving without insurance
o no poner una señal,
or not putting on a turn signal,
eso me hace a mí ser un criminal.
that makes me into a criminal.
Y a pesar de todas esas cosas,
And with all these things,
todas estas prisiones donde llevan a la gente,
all these prisons where they're taking all the people,
no nada más están abusando de su poder,
they're not only abusing their power,
sino que también están causando muchos daños a familias enteras.
what they're doing is also causing a lot of pain and a lot of damage to entire families.
No nada más a personas adultas,
Not only to adults,
sino a niños,
but to children.
que supuestamente donde en este país los niños son muy protegidos,
And supposedly in this country, kids are really well protected,
y las leyes se hacen cumplir,
and those laws are respected.
pero a una costa de separar familias
But even with all that separation, all the separations of the families,
y de quitarle a todas las familias el poco dinero que tienen.
families are separated, and you take away some of the money the little money that they already have.
Porque cuando ellos llegan al centro de detención de Tacoma,
Because when you get taken to the Tacoma Detention Center,
si tienen la oportunidad de salir de ese lugar,
if you have the opportunity to get out,
pueden contratar un abogado.
you can try to contract for a lawyer.
pero un abogado les cobra entre $3,000 a $5,000.
But an immigration attorney is maybe goes for $3,000 to $5,000.
Eso es nada más un abogado.
That's just a lawyer.
Aparte la fianza que pide migración para que los deje salir.
That's not even counting the bond that immigration officials ask for you so you can get out on bond.
Hace poco, Silvano,
A couple, it's been a little while, but one of our friends, Silvano,
tuve que ir a ayudarlo en ese lugar
I had to go help him at the detention center,
y tuvo que pagar $7,000 para salir.
and he had to pay $7,000 to get out.
¿Pueden imaginar ustedes
Could you imagine
que una persona que trabaja en el campo,
a person that works out in the fields,
que es perseguido por la policía,
that's followed by police,
migración,
border patrol,
ganando el sueldo mínimo de $9.32 la hora?
only making the minimum wage of $9.32 an hour?
¿Dónde va a tener todo ese dinero para poder salir?
Where's he gonna come up with all that money to post bond?
Y no es nada más Silvano,
And it's not only Silvano,
es Lorenzo,
it's Lorenzo,
es José,
Jose.
es mujeres que están ahí que tienen, conozco a Crisanta,
I know there's a lot of women, like I know a woman named Crisanta.
ella es de Guatemala,
She's from Guatemala.
ya tiene un año en ese lugar,
She's got 1 year already in the detention center.
madre de 2 niños,
She's the mother of 2 kids,
y sus niños ni siquiera la pueden ver.
and her kids can't even see her.
Estos centros de detención
These detention centers,
no solamente están robando la libertad de los seres humanos,
they're not only taking away our liberties for humans,
sino que están abusando de todo su poder.
but they're also abusing of all the power that they
El
have.
trato que ellos reciben,
The treatment that it's given inside.
Silvano me estaba platicando
Silvano was telling me
que la comida es muy mala,
the food is horrible.
que tenía que dormir en el suelo,
You had to sleep on the floor,
y para mí eso se me hace inhumano,
and for me that's inhumane.
estando en un país donde se proclama la justicia,
Being in a country where supposedly justice is always upheld,
pero lamentablemente para nosotros creo que no existe eso.
but sadly for us, I don't think that exists for us.
Tanto es la desesperación de la gente ahorita,
Right now, people are so desperate,
que en el condado de donde yo vengo
but in the county where I come from, Whatcom County,
empezamos a organizarnos,
we began to organize ourselves.
empezamos a hacer asambleas comunitarias
We started doing community assemblies
con los trabajadores del campo.
with workers from the fields.
Muchos de ellos ya están cansados
Many of them are already tired,
y creo que va a ser una manera organizándonos,
and I believe that's a way that we're gonna start organizing ourselves.
vamos a poder cambiar muchas cosas,
We can change a lot of things.
porque esa es la única manera que nosotros tenemos para cambiar un sistema
That's the only way that we can change a system
que nos criminaliza.
that criminalizes us.
Y aparte de eso,
And besides that,
nos separa de nuestras familias
it separates us from our families
y nos quitan todo lo que tenemos,
and takes everything that we have
que es nuestra dignidad.
and takes away our dignity.
Y yo pienso que la dignidad de ningún ser humano tiene precio.
And I believe that dignity has no price.
Para ustedes tal vez esto no tiene mucho sentido,
Maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense for many of you
porque no lo han visto, no lo han sentido,
because you haven't seen it or you haven't felt it.
pero cuando tú ves las lágrimas de niños, de mujeres,
When you see the tears of kids and women
llorando por su papá,
crying for
sus
their
esposos,
dads, their husbands,
eso es muy triste.
that's very sad.
En esos centros,
And those centers,
cuando yo entré a ese lugar,
when I went in,
te quitan todo,
they take everything.
te quitan todo hasta el celular.
They take everything,
No
your
te
cell phone.
dejan nada más que una pluma,
They only let you take in maybe a pen,
tu identificación.
your ID.
Es lo único que te dejan, te tratan de la misma manera que a estas personas que están adentro.
They treat you just as bad as the people that are already being detained.
Y yo pienso que la gente ya se cansó.
And I think people are already tired of that.
Estamos organizándonos
We're organizing ourselves.
y estoy aquí para que ustedes sepan
And I'm here to let you know
poquito de lo que pasa en el condado de Oaxaca.
a little bit of what's happening in our county, Whatcom County.
Es algo que ustedes no pueden imaginar.
It's something you can't imagine.
Ahora ya va a empezar el trabajo.
Right now, we're getting close to the season.
Creo que la policía e inmigración va a parar un poco.
I believe that Border Patrol and law enforcement is gonna slow down a little bit
Porque necesita de nosotros para levantar la cosecha.
because they need us to pick up all that harvest.
Pero cuando ya termina el trabajo,
But when the job is done,
vuelven otra vez sus prácticas.
their practices come back into practice.
Y una mejor manera para mí de ver un cambio
And the best way for me to see a change
sería cerrar estas prisiones
would be
de,
to close all these detention
migración.
centers, immigration
o que no
centers,
recibieran más fondos del gobierno
or
federal.
to not receive any more funds from the
Creo
government.
que no se han puesto a pensar
They haven't thought about
que personas indocumentadas
that people without documents
también pagan impuestos,
also pay taxes.
porque eso no se nos perdona a nosotros tampoco.
We don't get part in that.
Y creo que nosotros no quisiéramos apoyar ningún centro de detención de esa manera.
And I don't think any of us would want to support a detention center in that manner.
Y creo que todos como ciudadanos de este país
And I believe everybody that's a citizen in this country,
tenemos derecho a saber
we have the right to know
dónde va tu dinero
where your money is going
y
into
cómo se quiere usar.
and how it's going to be used.
Ustedes tienen todo el poder.
You have the power.
Lamentablemente yo aún no soy ciudadana americana,
Unfortunately, I'm not a U.S. citizen,
pero cuando lo sea creo que voy a hacer muchas cosas más.
but when I'm a citizen, I'm going to do way more things.
Y eso sería uno de los primeros lugares, exigir dónde va mi dinero de los impuestos que yo pago.
And one of the first things that I'm going to ask for is to demand that I know where my tax money is going into.
Y si queremos ver un cambio
And if we want to see a change
que nos afecta a todos,
that affects all of us,
porque creo que a ustedes también les afecta.
because I think it also affects
Porque
you.
quién no quisiera ese dinero que están utilizando en esos centros para ayudarlos a ustedes en sus estudios.
Because who wouldn't want that money that's going into these centers to go into your education?
Pienso que es una manera de cambiar el mundo,
I think it's one of the
no
ways.
nada más de encerrar a las personas y privarlas de su libertad.
It's one of the ways we can change the world, not only to incarcerate people and rob them of their liberty.
Y si todos unimos fuerzas,
And if we all unite our forces,
trabajamos juntos,
we work together,
podemos ver un cambio.
we can see that change.
No nada más en el área de la agricultura,
Not only in agriculture,
donde mujeres, hombres han sido abusados
where men and women have been
de
abused
muchas maneras.
every which way you can think
El
of.
pago que muchas veces no se les da,
The wage thefts,
mujeres que han sido violadas,
women who have been raped,
y eso creo que solamente está en nosotros querer cambiar algo.
and it's only up to us for us to do that change.
Y como les digo, solamente nosotros podemos lograr un cambio.
And only us here can do that change.
Por eso estamos aquí, para que ustedes sepan
So that's why we're here, so you know
un poquito de lo que pasa en la frontera de Estados Unidos y Canadá.
a little bit of what happens on the border of Canada and the United States.
Gracias.
Thank you.